All right, so tonight on the story, because it's Saturday night, would you rather be what, honey?
We'd rather be uptown.
You'd rather be, give a shout out to Nick. Peter said earlier he'd rather be at Uncork having a number two.
Number two.
Number two. We miss you, Nick. Anyway, but since we're not, we're gonna make a Mexican chicken stew. We also make a lot of times a Moroccan chicken stew, which is delicious. But I think the flavor profile will work better with the crowd tonight. Just our family. Not that we're having a crowd, but and this is a stew, not a chili. So there's no beans. We have our onions, our peppers. Poblano would be really good. We don't have that. Sweet potato. I have one left, so we're using it up. Butternut squash. Regular potato. Some chicken thighs that we're going to cut up small. And a little bit of chorizo. And spices, of course. Okay, so here we are with the stew. We have some corn, so we're going to throw that in there. Why not? Here's our meat. We have 3 links of fresh chorizo. We have about 1 and almost 2 pounds of cut up chicken thighs. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds, but you know, it's okay. Stews are very forgiving, so you can put a lot in there. We're going to start by browning the chorizo, breaking it up really well. We'll take it out, then we'll add the chicken. Okay, what was our mistake, Brooke?
She forgot to take the casing out of the sausage.
And you just burn yourself? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm just trying to break it up really well. This is the best tool for that. Just keep it in a big pile against the side. It'll be a little easier. It looks fine. Brooke. Okay. So we add a little salt. The chicken's browning well. It's like medium high. Just leave it alone. We're not messing with it. The chorizo's, you know, brown up really well there. And I'm just going to give it another minute, then we'll just try to, you know, mix it up and get on the other side. And then we're going to remove the chicken and start browning the veggies. Okay, we stirred the chicken. The bottom of the pan's got some little brown stuff on there, which is good. So we're going to let this cook just another minute or two, and then we're going to remove it. Add a coating of oil to the bottom of the pan. We took out the chicken. And we're going to add the onions and the peppers right now. The onions and the peppers are in. It might look like a lot, but what you have to remember is that they are going to reduce in volume. So don't worry about that too much. We're definitely going to season these with some salt because you want to put the salt in to pull out the moisture of the veggies, so they start to concentrate their flavor. And then we're also going to add the spices, the chili powder, oregano, chili powder, and cumin. A little bit, yeah. Okay, so we're going to add our spices. So we have about a tablespoon of chili powder, maybe about 2 teaspoons of oregano and cumin. And Brooke is taking kind of the inside seeds out of the butternut squash. So spices are going in. You can see the bottom of the pan is a little bit brown there. See all that brown? It's kind of the steam, but don't let that bother you. It's okay. Once we add the liquid, we'll scrape up all that brown from the bottom of the pan, which is what you want. So we're going to let these spices on the onions and the peppers get nice and brown. We're going to add some chopped garlic, and then we'll start to add the liquid. Okay, so the garlic just went in. I had it covered because I had to wait to chop the garlic, so that already would have created a little bit of moisture. But you see it's nice and dark there. That's okay. Don't worry, it's not burnt. It's just all the spices. So I'm going to give this garlic a minute, and then we're going to start to add some liquid. Okay, so the recipe calls for, that I did, calls for like 15 ounces. This is 28, so this is like double. We did have more chicken, and I think we have a pretty generous amount of kind of our other veggies here, plus we're adding the corn. So I'm going to go a little bit more than half, but I don't want it to be like too tomatoey, right? Because that's why we have the broth. Remember we made the broth yesterday? So we're going to add some of the broth, and then add our chicken and chorizo as well. Okay, so take a look here. You can see what it's hard to tell, but I'm scraping up all the bottom of the pan here, you know, using a metal stainless steel spoon, cleaning up all that good stuff on the bottom. I'm going to add some more broth and start to add the chicken and the chorizo and the rest of the veggies. Actually, before I move on, I just kind of wanted to show you like the comparison here. So this is, even though there's meat in here between these two, I mean, this is kind of small. It's, like I said, almost 2 pounds, so it's not a huge amount compared to, you know, all the vegetables we have here. right? So those equivalents, you can choose, you know, to be more heavy on the veggies. If you wanted to add other vegetables in here, you know, you could do that as well. But, you know, like the corn, for example, I had the corn, so I was like, okay, well, let's add the corn. Why not? If you had a zucchini that looked like it needed to be used up, then you could have added a zucchini. So don't, you know, even though this is kind of a little bit more fall oriented, just with the orange, you know, the sweet potato and the squash, it's fine. Okay, so take a look here. I'm going to zoom in a little closer. It's a fair amount of liquid there, but we're going to definitely need more. So, all right, all the liquid went in. We're going to add all of our veggies here. So we have the squash, the sweet potato, and the regular potato. We have the corn, but we're not going to add that quite yet. We're going to mix this up well and then bring it to a boil. You always definitely want to bring it to a nice boil all over the place. Then we'll let it cook. We're going to crush it up a little bit to make it, you know, to add that consistency. Because this is gluten-free. There's no flour or anything like that in here. It's pretty clean. Okay, so we got a decent boil. I'm going to go a little bit more, get a little bit bigger of a boil. But one thing I wanted to point out, I just kind of adjusted it. Like I pushed the pot, you know, over. You want to make sure that your pots are centered on your flame there, or even if you're using electric, whatever it may be, just make sure it's centered. Frequently too at work, at Culinary Works, I'm always kind of adjusting somebody's skillet or pot because they're not properly on the flame, because you want the pot to be able to absorb the heat properly. Okay, so I'm just going to take a look here, and we are not ready yet. It looks good, so basically I just try to push it against the side of the pan and see like if the vegetable, like the potato, if it like squishes easily against the side of the pan, then I know it's close. So they're getting there. They're softer, but not quite. Gonna keep going. They've been for, you know, 5-10 minutes. Just took off the lid. Take a look here.
I've driven in there. I've never been inside. Well, I poked my head inside when you guys did a cooking class. I had to chop off.
Yeah, so we're just, things are looking soft there. You can see it kind of smushes up against the side. So what I'm gonna do is take this guy, sorry, it's so in the steam, and then just start to, you know, kind of smush it a little bit. Just to start to make it a little thicker and make it a little bit more like stewy, where things have broken down a little bit more. I'm just gonna give it some nice texture. So you could already see kind of the difference there, how much better that looks. And then we'll add the corn, but I didn't want to completely kind of ruin the corn by putting the corn in there at the same time. Okay, so take a look now and see the texture. So it's kind of just, you know, I didn't completely, you know, kind of go crazy with the masher, but you can see it's just a totally different texture as it was before, where you'd see all like kind of the exact chunks. This way I kind of just think it's kind of a little more comforting looking. So we added the corn, gonna let that corn cook a little bit, and then we are gonna do some lime juice, lime zest, and some cilantro. And then say hi to my friends. Hello, everybody say hi. Okay, so we're doing some lime zest, and we have these already cut, so all I did was put a fork in it, and then zesting along here, keep going, and then we're going to add the juice, and we're going to add a large handful of cilantro, and you can also just individually in each dish put your little cilantro and lime juice as well. So let's get a like good little look here. I mean, see, look at that texture. Remember, there's no flour, no gluten. This is just a nice, clean, kind of fun, yummy stew. And I did just add, which I need more cilantro, we have to get out in the garage, but we have the lime zest and the lime juice, and more salt. And you can't forgo that last little bit of like tasting your food and knowing what it tastes like, and just making sure that it has, you know, the flavor that you're looking for. And the difference from when I added the lime zest and the lime juice and the cilantro to adding it is crazy. It's like, so definitely just taste it, and don't forgo, you know, the fresh herbs and everything at the end.